Yeah, hi, my name's Kieran Lewis. I'm the Managing Director of JDL Construction. We're a builder based in Brisbane. Welcome to the Online Prosperity Show. What you can expect to receive from this is just some good conversation between myself and Prosper, talking about a little bit about my journey and my life and a little bit about our business and you know, the good things and the bad things and just being honest and an open book about who we are and what we do.
Now, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show, your premium destination for exclusive insights into the journeys of remarkable entrepreneurs and industry leaders. I'm your host, Prosper Taroving, and today we've got a truly inspiring guest whose story embodies resilience, transformation, and success. Now, Kieran, how are you doing, my man?
Very well, thank you. Very well, Prosper.
Absolutely. I'm really excited about having you on the show today. It's not every day that we get to speak to somebody in construction and somebody who actually invites us to their boardroom, as you have so kindly done. So thank you so much for having us today, Kieran.
No worries. No worries.
Absolutely. Now, for those that are watching right now, yes, we're not taking a shower. You might be seeing all those shower heads in Kieran's office. That's not what we're here for. But if you're a bit filthy in your own ways, hey, I'm not going to judge there. So Kieran is the managing director of JDL Construction Group Proprietary Limited, and they are a Brisbane-based design and construction company that is specializing in high-end Queenslander and character home renovations. Now, obviously, just like anybody else, Kieran's path to success is anything but conventional, and his experiences are offering an invaluable lesson for anyone that is looking to navigate the entrepreneurial landscape. And that's the reason why I brought him in today, so that we can get an inside scope into who Kieran is and how he's managed to build the business that we're going to be talking about. Now, Kieran, before we actually dive into your professional journey, I've actually heard you had an unfortunate incident where you had two of your front teeth knocked out as a result. Now you hate dentists. What was happening there?
Very much so. Very much so. I think as 18 or 19 years old, still living at my parents' house in Kedron. And as you do when you're younger, you go out into town with some friends and have a little bit too much to drink, and fell over and hit my face on the curb or the ground, and happened to knock my two front teeth out.
Wow. Was that a challenge, or were you just mucking around, or you just didn't see the ditch in front of you?
I think I definitely had a little bit too much to drink. Wasn't really mucking around. And it caused an awful lot of pain, and it caused a lot of drama for probably the next 5 or 6 years, to be honest with you.
Oh no. It's quite lucky back in the time, phones were not that smart. I mean, is there any footage of that happening?
Absolutely not. And I'm very glad that there is none as well, to be honest.
Because we could have put that through as evidence, to, with whatever it is that you're going to be doing a little bit later on. But you're all healed now. I can see you all smiles.
All healed now. We've actually had, those two teeth. They did get put back in, and they lasted for a while, and then they came out, and I've had a couple of dental implants since then. I had to have braces for a second time around before I got married. So I've had quite a bit of dental work over the years, and that's honestly why I don't like going to the dentist very much.
Absolutely. But look at this. The dentist has actually afforded you the lifestyle that you have right now, so I wouldn't be hating them.
I
know. Great stuff. All right. So obviously, while you're doing your shenanigans, you were a lad growing up and things like that. Yes. What was life like? As a teenager, that then results in no front teeth for the rest of your life?
Yeah, no, interesting. I mean, originally we're from New Zealand originally. So moved over with my parents 2001. I'm 38 now, so been here longer, obviously than what I lived in New Zealand for. Went to school. I'm the eldest of four kids. I've got a younger sister and two younger brothers. And yeah, it was just, mum and dad worked really hard. They weren't, particularly wealthy or well off, but they got by, and just had a normal life. What definitely wasn't the coolest kid at school. I can, I can attest to that. Probably still not the coolest guy around today, but that's all right. And yeah, very, very lucky to have a good, teenage years growing up. Nothing too special, but nothing too bad either. Apart from knocking my two front teeth out, but nothing too bad apart from that, really. So yes.
Absolutely. Well, the one thing about those two front teeth is now you've got a good story to tell,
Absolutely.
And one of those things. But you started off your journey working alongside your father in carpentry. What was that like?
Yes. No, it was hard. I think so. Yeah, I did a little bit of a different route to most guys. So I finished school, didn't know what I wanted to do, and I ended up going to university first. So I went to QUT in Brisbane and did a degree in management and marketing. And then I went and worked for a company called Boral Asphalt, working, doing the roads, and I was in the office. Ended up working away from home out at Roma for 8 months, and then I was working away out at Toowoomba. And back then, the fly-in, fly-out roster was quite tough. It was, out at Roma, it was 28 days on and 4 days off. And, 6 hours drive from Brisbane. So you had to drive home on your first day off and then drive back out there on your last day off. So you're really only home for 3 nights, and then you're back out there again. And it was fun. I had a girlfriend at the time who's now my wife, and it just started to get a little bit tough. So I called my dad up and we had a chat, and I sort of asked him about whether I could do a mature age apprenticeship with him, and he said yes. And a couple of months later, we organised it, and it happened. And basically in August 2013 is when I left and started working with my dad as an apprentice carpenter.
Absolutely. And obviously, it's not easy. I've seen people that are doing the fly in, fly out, even though they've sort of lost the terminology. You're just out there by yourself. And if you've got a family, there's no growth that usually happens in terms of that sort of relationship and things of that nature. But
absolutely.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You married, you got married, and you then left working with dad and you started your own business. Tell us what that was all about.
Yeah, well, we're still, didn't start my own business. We sort of started the business together. So my dad's a builder. He did a lot of building work in New Zealand and then came over to Australia. And, he was always doing work for himself. Like mum and dad would they'd buy a house and renovate it and sell it. And so that's when I first came on, that we did that a couple of times. And to be fair, it probably didn't work out as well as what they would have liked. And so we ended up starting to do some work for mums and dads. And, it was dad and I were still on the tools. And then after a couple of years, we decided to employ one person and then employ a second person, a third person, until, we've now got a whole lot of people working for us. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And what was it like working with your dad and establishing JDL together?
Interesting, I think is the word to say for it. I think anytime you work with family or your father, I think I got fired about 10 times. As you do, we'd have an argument. I'd get upset, I'd leave, and then I'd come back the next day. So, right. But I did much apprenticeship when I was a little bit older. I think if I'd done that when I was 17 or just out of school, I never would have finished it with Dad. So I definitely think being a little bit older, I definitely had a bit more mature head, and it allowed me to get it through. But Yeah, it was hard. It was, dad's a fantastic builder, physically on the tools, how to build houses and that sort of thing. As for, the running of a business and numbers and how that all goes, I'm probably stronger in that sense. So it sort of worked pretty good. Dad really left me to my own device to sort of run the business ultimately. There's probably a couple of times where he should have sort of stepped in and said a few things, but he didn't. And I guess everything that we've sort of done, I've sort of learned from my own mistakes. And whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But it is what it is, So yeah.
I can only imagine. I mean, working with family can be both rewarding and also challenging. Like you said, you got fired almost 10 times, but you coming in with a business background, which basically would have propped up the business, and he's coming in with the expertise of the job and things like that. Now, both of you had different strengths and things of that nature. Was that an advantage in and of itself, or did that actually create most of the problems that maybe ended you getting fired?
It probably created more of the problems, to be honest. I think, but even coming from uni and doing a degree in business or management, but no one teaches you how to run a small business, hey? And a lot of it's corporate. There's a lot of corporate mentality and culture and structure and things like that. But they don't actually teach you how to run a small business. And as soon as and ultimately, when you're running a building company, you generally go down the carpentry route and become a carpenter, move into that supervisor role, and then get your builder's license. But no one really tells you that when you move from the role of carpenter to builder, you're actually moving from the role from carpenter to business owner as well. and all of a sudden you go from wearing one hat to sort of 15 or 20 different hats, and it's a very very different experience to go through that. Hey,
I can only imagine. And didn't you just think, what, those 21 days are not that bad after all?
Sometimes you think, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, with this sort of business that you guys created, you are looking at large scale, high end renovation, which normally the people that you're working with are people that already come with money, already come with demands, already come with expectation. It's more of a consultation that you're doing. You're not necessarily telling them, you're probably just maybe validating what it is that they want, and they're just going to be seeing if their budgets are feasible for them to go into that sort of high-end renovation. How was it like for you guys to actually do the business side of things, maybe generating leads and actually start talking to people, in that sort of role?
It's been a journey. It's been a real journey learning, how do you attract people? How do you interact with people? How do you talk to people? Like when we sort of first started, we've always done a lot of Google SEO. We've always been quite highly ranked on from that side of things. And that's where everything sort of started. We've gone down the route. We've gone down the branding route recently with Hamish Chadwick, and again that's been one of the best things that we've ever done. And that's really sort of getting us into that different sort of picture now, where we're sort of dealing with some larger scale jobs and some probably higher end clients, I think. But just because people live in a different suburb or they're spending more money than others, everyone works hard for their money, and they want to make sure that the money that they're spending that it's actually being used properly. And we're no different to that. I know that we work very hard for the money that we make, and any time that we spend it, we actually want to make sure we're getting we're getting value. And that's how we honestly treat all of our clients. It doesn't matter what part of Brisbane or what style of home or size of project that you're doing. Everyone gets treated the same, because everyone wants to feel valued, and making sure that the money that they're spending, that they're getting value for money.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, for you to bring out a good product, which is a high-end renovation and things of that nature, there's going to require a lot of hands, a team,
Yes.
and things of that nature. How did you
Yes.
go about building a team that obviously suited where you guys were going and still be able to bring out the quality that is now expected of the brand that you've created?
Yeah, a lot of hard work and effort. It's I think we're at the point now where within the building business, we've got 22 people in the building company. We've got a very strong office background. We've got 5 people in the office, and we've got 17 guys out in the field, and that's a mixture of supervisors, leading hands, and carpenters and apprentices. But to get structured and to get organised, I think we've built a really strong team, and we've got a lot of guys working for us, and they've been with us for quite some time, and I'm really proud to say that. Like, there's a couple of key guys. Simone, she's in our office. She's been with us for 9 years, and there's a couple of other guys. A guy called Scott and a guy called Tom. They've been with us for 8 years now as well. And it's not. I think these days it's not very common to have people, actually stay around for that long. So, I feel very, very proud around that fact. But everyone that we've got in the key positions with our supervisors or our estimating or even our construction manager, they actually started with us as a carpenter, and they've progressed, from carpenter to leading hand to supervisor or into the office. So everyone has sort of been with us from the ground up, and they understand our values. They know what the business or the culture is all about. And I think the most important thing for me is that they actually genuinely care. and that's you can't, unfortunately, you can't teach that. Yep. But we've got a lot of really amazing people. They care about us and the business, and I'd like to think that we try very hard to look after people as well. But that has really helped us get to where we are, and we've got an amazing team, and I really hope that it stays like that for a long period longer.
Absolutely, and congratulations on that. I mean, from your own track record, you're fired almost 10 times, but now at least you've found some sort of stride within the business, and hopefully it stays like that. And
you like to learn from your mistakes, right? So.
And speaking of mistakes, is there any sort of specific mistake that you maybe did in your business on your journey, and what sort of lesson did you learn from it?
Plenty. Yeah, I think there's one thing about myself and my father. We've never been afraid to take an idea and just try and make it happen. And that's probably been to our detriment in some regards. At one point we were building a new house, and so we decided to get our demolition license to knock the house down. So we did that. And we thought, right, this is all right. Let's start up a demolition company. So we did that. We got our license. We got everything set up. Company structures, details, whatnot, and then we got stuck into that. And again, the mistake there is we didn't really. We just jumped into it without thinking too hard how we were actually going to make it happen. And I think that's one thing that I've really learned, is just to try and take a bit more of a backward step and just stop rushing into things. Because we lost a bit of money on that, and it was a good idea. Yes, we had a go, but in all honesty, it probably wasn't the right move, and it probably never was. But we jumped in there, we had a go, and it didn't work out, and we're still here, which is good. But yeah, definitely guilty of just jumping into things a little bit too quickly and not really sort of taking a bit of a backward step for 5 minutes and having a think, and making sure, or asking the question, is this the right move, or am I making a better choice here? So yeah.
I can understand why demolition, though, because it's usually the before stage that is needed within your business, and sometimes you need to own that process before you maybe pass it on to somebody else. But in business, there's something called focus. You follow one course until successful, and then maybe after you then go into other things, because if you chase two rabbits, you catch neither. And I can only understand that this is what would have happened. But I like how you've gone on and you've doubled down on the relationships with the clients that you have, things of that nature. Maybe that has been a big success factor within your business. Maybe you can share with us a story where this sort of focus in your business then led to a particularly successful project outcome that you shared with your clients.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had a couple of big key moments, and I think one of the again key moment number one is obviously going down the branding journey, but key moment number two is going down the design and construct journey and changing our business model from one where clients would come to us with plans already drawn to one where clients come to us in the beginning and we do the drawings and plans for them. And in terms of a game changer, that has absolutely transformed our business. And we are not looking back on that whatsoever. I guess there's always been a bit of disconnect between design and construct, and from a design side of things to the guys actually building. And what we are trying to do is bridge that gap so that we get the best of both worlds. We obviously want to look after the client and give them the best value for money and or the best bang for their buck, and design a beautiful house with all the lovely features, kitchens, bathrooms, dining rooms, open plan kitchen, dining, living. That is done for a certain price points, but on the same token, we also want to try and make these houses as simple and as easy as we can to build too. So we're trying to get the best of both worlds, and that at the moment, I think that we're doing a very, very good job of it. And, most clients or every client who's working with us at the moment, I think they get to the end of the job and they're very, very happy with the product, but also the, how everything has gone on the way through from start to finish.
Absolutely. And I think owning the means of production from start to finish also gives you control of the outcome.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because,
absolutely.
Yeah, because if somebody comes in already with their paperwork already done or their plans, by the time you try and fit in what you're doing, it might just not look the same. It becomes Chinese whispers, and it doesn't sort of come out right. Now, with what you guys have been doing, I can also imagine, because I don't know about Brisbane, but in Victoria, the construction industry has just been under some form of attack, from the economy to like standards, rules, laws, and there's been various changes, especially in recent times. How have you guys at JDL sort of adapted to these changes and continued thriving?
Look, I think, obviously COVID happened a couple of years ago, and it really changed the industry overnight. I think for us, it's probably strengthened our business, and it's actually made us better operators. We were working out of my parents' house, and as builders, you collect an awful lot of stuff. So it got to a stage where my mum kicked us out, and we ended up going to rent a shed. But that transformed the way that we operate. We've got a lot of area. We can pre-order materials and have them sitting in our warehouse ready to go. And for us, or for me in particular, like, I don't like losing control. Right. And particularly with building, there's so many moving parts, and there's lots of factors that run against you, whether it's the economy or the way a job's funded, or even different trades and the quality of trades that are working with you, and suppliers and supply chain issues. There are so many moving parts, and what we've worked out is that the more that we can control, the better the outcome for us. So we employ more people than others, I think. But for argument's sake, when we go to contract, we order all the clients' tiles and tapware and all their appliances, and we bring that into our shed, and that sits there, and then we can take it out as we need to. We don't lose control. It's the same with all of the guys working for us. They're all employed permanently. We don't have any contractors working for us from the carpentry side of things. And it just, the weather at the moment is horrific, and it's really sort of thrown the schedules around a lot, but it just allows us to have control over the schedules and, do the best that we possibly can by our clients.
Absolutely. And also Queensland has been very unfortunate lately. You're speaking of the weather and things of that nature.
Yes.
Has that put you guys, at a disadvantage, or has it become an advantage because now all those houses are going to need somebody to look after?
It's definitely a disadvantage at the moment. It rained last week again. and it was raining today. I think we've got three houses that at the moment that are sitting there lifted, ready for a concrete slab, and we should have had concrete poured three weeks ago, but it just hasn't eventuated that way. So it's definitely a disadvantage at the moment, and it's just we are quite fortunate. We generally have, I think we've got about 9 or 10 projects running at the moment. So while in some projects we're not getting ahead, we've had other projects that we're actually working inside that we are further ahead on than what we should have been. So it hasn't been too bad lately, but it doesn't always work out like that. Normally, whenever it rains, we're all of our work's outside, and we're going to try and find things for our guys to do. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, the renovation process is a process that starts with thinking, and people are maybe looking at brochures and thinking,
Yes.
Wouldn't that be nice, and things of that nature. At what point do you want people to start thinking, wait a minute, I need to bring these guys to the table?
It doesn't hurt to do that very early on in the process, even just to get an idea of what you as the client, what you're trying to achieve. And then we can put together some budget guidelines. So, before things get too far down the track and you've got drawings done, you need to get an understanding as to what you're trying to achieve, and whether that's turning the house from a 3-bedroom 1-bathroom to a 4-bedroom 2-bathroom or a 5-bedroom 3-bathroom. It's also getting an understanding of, like, is this the right direction for me in terms of, am I better off doing a renovation? Or there's always different ways of doing things. And I think for us, we want to try and point people in the right direction, and that's cost us a lot of work. But it's always going to be, honestly, it's always going to be in the client's best interest, And we've had a lot of clients come to us, and they've got a post-war home, and they want to lift the house because that's what we do a lot around Brisbane. They want to lift it and extend it and build it underneath. And, these days you're looking at north of $1.2 to $1.5 million to do that, right? Yeah. Whereas, those guys could actually knock the house down, and they could go with a volume builder like a Metricon or a Coral, and, they'll build your brand new house for $700,000 or $800,000. Or you could go for a custom home builder that will build you a custom home for $1 million or 1.1, And we could sit there and say, oh, yep, we can renovate your house, but it's always, look, it's got to be in the client's best interest. And I think if you're really sitting there trying to work out what is the best option, it's just trying to find someone that you feel comfortable with, and just take some advice and just have a good think before you jump down the design journey, because it is a long one. You can get steered in different directions by different people. And it's just about trying to find the right people to guide you and actually listen to those experts, and you should come to a good outcome.
Oh, absolutely. And I quite like that sometimes you actually direct people to go elsewhere, because at the end of the day, if it's not going to be a job that you're doing, it only just tarnishes your brand if they're not happy with the products that they end up receiving. Now, you did mention lifting the house and maybe moving it somewhere else. So that kind of means that if somebody's getting their renovation done, they need to be outside of their home, right? Because yes. I'm that kind of a person that I want to be passing the tradie a hammer and holding their nails and things like that.
Workplace health and safety doesn't let that happen anymore, Prosper. So
all right. So is there something that you do to help people, especially when that is happening?
Yeah, look, it depends on the type of renovation. If it's a major renovation where, you know, the client is losing their bathrooms and their kitchens, then obviously they can't stay in the house, and they do need to vacate for the entire duration. Whereas if the existing home is in pretty good condition and we're focusing more on a large extension out the back, and we can actually section the house off and create that barrier, then, you know, we do let the clients live there, and we've got to be, you know, we've got to be real too. The way that rental prices have gone these days as well, for someone to go and rent a house for 6 months, you know, you're looking at $1,200 a week for a family of 4 or 5, right? So, you know, to go and rent a house for 6 months, you're going to be up for another 30 or 40 grand, and for most clients, like, that can make or break the project. You know, so you've got to try and think outside the box, and in some circumstances where you can, you know, let the client live on site, then that's what we do.
Absolutely. See, Kieran, I'm used to all those reality TV shows where, you know, they get pampered, you know, the guy, they might go in, buy him some whiskey, and then he comes back home later on and, oh my God, they've had a really bad. Is that the accolades that happens with you guys when you deliver a house?
Sometimes. No, look, we work for a lot of really nice clients, and we are quite particular about the clients that we do work with as well, you know. And what I mean by that is we just need to make sure that we're a good fit to work together. And if we're a good fit to work together, you know, we will work as hard as we possibly can to get the right outcome. And we honestly put our clients first. And at the end of the day, like, we get a lot of fantastic reviews. We're always talking to our clients, which is amazing. You know, there's lots of guys who don't end up with a very good relationship because it's a long time, especially now that we've gone down the design journey as well. You know, sometimes we're going to be dealing with clients for 2 to 3 years. So, you know, it's not a quick 5-minute transaction or a 10-minute transaction. It's a very, very long time frame, and we've got to make sure that we can hold our heads high right the way through.
Absolutely. Now, if somebody's watching this and obviously is now starting to think, they're considering maybe a renovation or build and things of that nature, what would be the best way for them to get their journey started?
In my opinion, the best way to get the journey started would be to go and see a builder who does design and construct, or a builder who has an association with a designer or an architect. But yeah, in my opinion, the best projects are ones where it's builder-led design, or there is a very good and strong collaboration between designer and architect. It's not too far the architectural way, it's not too far the building way. It's got to have that very strong relationship. If someone goes and finds someone like that, I think you're off to the right start, onto the right foot.
Absolutely. And if somebody really wants to work with JDL, where would they go?
Go to our website, jdlconstruction.com.au, or check us out on socials on Instagram and Facebook and the works.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, Kieran, this has been fantastic having a chat with you, but you know, it would be remiss for me to not ask. I mean, you've already offered that information about your teeth and stuff and how you're working with your dad and things of that nature, but you've become a dad yourself.
I have.
Yeah? How are you balancing all of this, wanting to control people's homes and also running the business and family life?
It's hard. It's hard, man. I've got a lovely wife, Shannon. You know, she's very supportive of me. You know, I've got a 3-year-old Vera, a 1-year-old Betty. We've got another one on the way in October, which is amazing. But yeah, it's really hard, and I think, you know, I love what I do. That's for me. It's not a job. It's not going to work. It's just I absolutely love running a business. I live it and I breathe it. And sometimes I get in trouble because I love it too much. Yeah, you know. But it is hard, and you do need to take some time to sort of separate the two out. And I think, what has allowed me to do that is I've got a fantastic wife, a good family around me. But from a work side of things, I've got a lot of people around me that I can trust and let them do what I used to do and take that away from me. So that makes life a lot easier as well.
Absolutely. Now, Kieran, I know your dad is going to be watching this.
Yes.
A little bit later on. Is there anything that you want to tell him that you haven't told him before, because he gave you a shot and now the shot is paying off?
Yeah. Well, we're sort of going through a bit of a challenging period at the moment with my father and I. He sort of decided to retire, and we're sort of going through a bit of a change of ownership at the moment. So that's been a very interesting sort of time period. But as it is, with family and business. But with my dad, you obviously gave me a start, and you've really taught me an awful lot about building and in business too. But I think that I am a fantastic builder because of you. And the little things that he taught me is, there's a couple of famous John Lewis sayings, which is one is do it once, do it right, and that has always stayed with me true. But when you're building, that runs very true. With building, it's all about making, there's 3 or 4 things: making sure the house doesn't fall down, for one. It's just pretty simple. Number 2 is making sure there's no leaks, and whether that's coming in from the roof, around your windows, but around from the outside of the building and then coming up through the floor. And number 3 is your finish. Making sure that everything that you do is finished to the best of your ability. And making sure that it lasts a length of time. And those are things that I've learned from my dad. I think I've also got a very strong work ethic from my dad as well. So yeah, it's been amazing. It's been amazing to work beside him. Basically every day for the last 13 years. I have really enjoyed that aspect. But he's 72 now, and I think mum and dad are planning on traveling around Australia for a year or so, and I think it's going to be an interesting sort of transition for him into retirement, because he's sort of all he's known is being a builder. And I think it's going to be a very sort of challenging and interesting time for him to sort of transition into retirement and work out what he's going to do moving forward. Hey, so yeah.
Great stuff. And obviously you've got your wife who waited for you all those 21 days while you were out there in the red earth.
Yes.
And she's still with you right now, and almost about to be mother of 3. What's the one thing you want her to know?
Thank you. I don't know. She's amazing. She's definitely got a very level head. She's an amazing mother. She puts up with me, which is fantastic. She lets me do. I think I get away with a lot more things in terms of being away from home and working than others. So thank you for your patience, Shannon, and stick with us, and hopefully we can make some good things happen. Huh?
Absolutely. And you did mention you've got one on the way. What's the letter you would write to your unborn child?
It's been an interesting pregnancy, this one. We'll sort of say that. This one, this one actually started out. The third one actually started out as twins, but one of the twins didn't actually progress any further. So it's been a very interesting sort of time period. This one, from going from expecting twins and getting through the shock of having 4 kids under 4, and as crazy as twins was going to be. To then accept that and get excited for it, and then that to sort of not happen. That's been a very, very interesting sort of last little while, to be honest with you. So the letter to that unborn child is, it's been an interesting time. You're healthy. You're still here with us, and we can't wait to bring you into the world and show you what we're all about.
Fantastic. Well, I know that wasn't easy, but thank you so much. I mean, things like this. You've built a really good business, and the legacy lives on, and it lives on through these people that you've sort of mentioned in the show today. And you have said now you're getting into a new stage, a new phase of JDL. What can we expect? What's the new and improved JDL going to look like?
Just again, focus on design and construct. We're very process driven. You know, we're not perfect. You know, I'd like to think that we're better than most, but you know, like any business, we're not perfect and we do make mistakes, and we're just going to try and get better. You know, work with some fantastic clients, build some amazing houses, but probably moving forward, you know, we've got some amazing, you know, software upgrades. We're doing interior design in house now as well, some renders, and really trying to help the clients visualize. And just, I think the biggest thing is just trying to let clients let us guide clients. I think if we can do that, we're going to have such a great time over the next few years. Hey, it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. Now, Kieran, I can't thank you enough for obviously sharing your incredible journey with us today. I mean, your story is just a testament to the power of resilience, continuous learning, and just the importance of strong relationships in business. And yeah, man, kudos to you, and all the best for everything else that's coming along in the future for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. For those that are watching right now, if you're inspired by Kieran's journey and also considering a renovation or construction project, and especially if you're in Queensland, reach out to JDL Construction Group Propriety Limited. I mean, their expertise and commitment to excellence could be the perfect fit for your needs. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the Online Prosperity Show for more insightful content like this. And if you've been inspired by Kieran's experiences, I'm going to be putting links on how you can get in touch with him in the show notes below. And yeah, stay tuned for our next episode, where we're going to be exploring more ideas on how to help you lead a happier and more prosperous life. I want you to remember one thing: your journey to prosperity starts with the right knowledge, the right connections, and the right attitude. So stay engaged, stay inspired, and we'll see you next time on the Online Prosperity Show. Bye for now.